Recording. That's really fucking loud. Sup? Alright, this is working, I think. How we are doing? It's Thursday here in Australia, which means it's weekly tutorial time. Ha, jokes. We don't have a schedule here at Friendly Fire Studios, so let's just do it. Alright, this is a subscriber asked video. I tend to do these a lot, so if you have any ideas for videos and stuff, guys, just inbox me on my Facebook page, Friendly Fire. The links in the description. Just because, you know, sometimes I won't see YouTube comments and YouTube inboxes is horrible. So if you really do want to get to me with a 100% reply, my Facebook page, and with a 85% reply YouTube, because sometimes I get comments and stuff, I just don't see them. So Facebook is the way to go. Now, this dude asked me this. Generally, how do you match sub bass, sub exactly to the bass? Can you make a tutorial by any chance? Sure thing, homie. Alright. Now, the thing about this is not to overthink it, okay? When I first started making dubstep, I remember it took me about a year just to finally make a decent bass, and then I realized I had to match sub bass with it, because if you release the track, it's going to sound like a haystack, just really thin and strawy and just it's gross. Now, the thing about sub bass is that people tend to forget that it's only there for literally two things. Okay, number one, it's there just to fill up the spectrum, the noise spectrum, and just not to make this track sound thin. Number two, if you make music that you want to be DJ'd in a club, then it's a bit more important. But if you're not really making music that you're playing out, then I feel like you should just don't overthink it, because you know what I mean. I am making music to eventually to play myself. So example, I DJ'd on the weekend in a club in Sydney, and you know, the sub bass there is important, because in a club the sub bass is so loud that that's what a lot of the time people are hearing. And as stupid and silly as I think it is, because like I don't make dubstep for a sick sub bass, I make dubstep for my growls and my sound design and my groove and example, all that shit. But it's just things you have to consider. So unless you're making music that you're playing in clubs or to an audience out loud, then don't overthink it. And what I mean by that is, so I've got this little fucking shitty loop I started. Let's just take a quick listen. It's got no sub bass whatsoever. So okay, so what's going on here is, right, not everything has to have a sub bass. So for example, this at the start, this chord hit, I wouldn't make a sub bass for that. I would make a separate patch, which would probably be a hammer, and it'd be just a bass, just a low frequency bass that's just rumbling through. So for example, let's just do this quickly. Keys, right? Open a hammer, and I'm just gonna do this quickly. Literally, all I would do is just give two voices, drop it down to an octave, something like that, and I would literally just play that. Just like that, you know what I mean? But then obviously then I'd mix it, chuck it in the sidechain, all that stuff, mix it so it sounds nice, and I'd use that as my bass for the chords. Why? Because sub bass, if you listen to one of your favorite songs loud, there isn't sub bass playing the whole drop. even in the drop, the sub bass is not playing, and most of the time, melodies and stuff, there's virtually no sub bass. It's just little basses, like low end basses like this. So I'm going to get rid of that. So I would do that, per se. Now, a lot of the time too, if you listen to one of your favorite songs, right, not all the dubstep growls and stuff have a sub bass layered sometimes, because then it becomes too much. So you have to pick and choose when you want to put your sub bass. So I generally, for the first hit of my first growl, I won't ever really put a sub bass. And depending what the growl is too, keep in mind. So for this growl here, for example, right, that is a nice low-endy growl on its own. So let's have a look at the let's have a look at the EQ, right? Look at that. I've even boosted the low end on its own, and I haven't done a cut like this. I haven't done that. Why? Because I feel like it's not needed. So see, that sounds nice on its own. In a club, that would rumble. In your car, it's going to rumble. And it's just because it's just straight away you're not overwhelming everyone with your sub bass in your face. So I personally would not add no sub bass to this. I'd even just boost the low end here. Perfect. Here is where I would begin. So this is what you said in your inbox. You said if you've got a growl that's, I've made like a little pattern here, right? How do you match it up if it's just a one note in the piano roll? Now, I'm going to leave a link to this guy. Wrong way. To this guy. He is his name is vayhoz. He's Canadian. He's like 18 now, very young kid. He has a video on sub bass where he shows you how to match up your sub bass exactly to this. So if I was to make a separate sub bass, with a different plugin, you can use your Fruity Link controller and you link it to this serum and it will copy this exactly. And now you get that exactly. It's really complicated and I've never done it. He does it, so you can find his how to make sub bass video, and that you can watch his video on how to do it exactly. Or a little trick: turn on your sub. All right, drop it down 2 octaves, and then what you can do is this is going to take up a lot of CPU. So what you could do is clone this growl, then just mute all this stuff. Or like mute the LFO and stuff except for the sub bass, because then you're gonna have just, do you see what I mean? And then what you could do is just sample that out or put that in to your song, whatever. That again takes time and a lot of CPU, so I don't tend to do that. I've seen someone do that before. I thought it was a pretty cool trick. So I'm going to show you now how I would do it. Alright, so let's just say I'll make a quick sub bass in FreeSOSC. Okay, now what we'll do is should have made this before I started the video, sorry dudes. Okay, so I usually tend to cut your sub bass under 100, and then I'll cut my high pass my stuff just above 100. Boost it a bit. Okay, what I would do for this now, honestly, listen to the growl. So it's just like a stab, like a quick. So it's a quick hit, and then I just go to like a double hit. And honestly, that's all I would do. So that's what I mean by don't overthink it. The sub bass is going to be in its own little world down there. No one's going to listen to your song and go, man, that sub bass sounds like crap. Like, it doesn't happen. Like, they're either going to go, there's no sub bass, or that's it. Then no one's going to think of the sub bass again. So I would do this. And honestly, you could even just, you could do whatever you want, man. You can honestly do whatever you want, guys. So that works. You know what I mean? I've even heard songs where, right, so I heard a song the other day where the dude, and the only reason I paid attention to it is because of this video, because since he asked me to do a thing about sub bass. Let me place this down, right? I saw a dude, or I heard a song where he just, the sub bass throughout the whole song was doing this, and his growls were going crazy. And I shit you not, the sub bass is just going bang, bang, just non-stop. But like, the song was good, so he could get away with it, and no one was gonna bat an eye at that. You know what I mean? So okay, so you got that first thing. I have the first hit and two little ones, right? So here, two again. There you go. So see, even there, you could even skip the sub bass there. So this is up an octave, maybe. I mean, up a note. See, and that's how you, honestly, that's how you, like, most people do it, guys. So yeah, there's no special trick to it. Is sub bass getting sidechained yet? So let's just boost this a little bit. There you go, and then here again, obviously I'd have the bass following underneath, so it doesn't just go from this to completely empty. But that's how I would match up my sub bass, man. I'm sorry if it wasn't what you were expecting, but there's nothing really special to sub bass. Fun fact, I actually hate sub bass. It's one of the worst things I think about music. It's just really boring and tedious, and I always leave it till last. So yeah, so one more time. Don't overthink it, and just listen to your growl, and then just match up with the sub bass. That's really all there is to it, guys. Peace out.